City of Corpus Christi Reinvestment Zone Number 3 for downtown Corpus Christi. We do have a quorum, I think. Rebecca, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Chairman Mike Pesley.
Here.
Board members Roland Barrera.
Here.
Sylvia Campos.
Here.
Rudy Garza. Here. Paulette Guajardo.
Present.
Gil Hernandez.
Here.
Michael Hunter.
Here.
Jim Klein is absent. Everett Roy.
Here.
Connie Scott is absent. James Sedgwick. Here. Dan Suckley.
Here.
Okay, we do have a quorum present to conduct the meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. Is there anyone here today for public comment? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the minutes. We
There are
don't
no
have any
minutes on the
today?
agenda, sir. No, sir. It's
Okay.
a special meeting, so we don't have them.
And then we have the financial report. Nothing for financial report today? No? Alyssa?
There's no financial report either, sir.
All right, and we are pulling, Alyssa, we're pulling the executive session. No need to have an executive session today?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And I understand that we're also pulling item number 4. It's not going to be discussed.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, we'll move to item G2, motion approving tax increment reinvestment on number 3 board meeting calendar. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the calendar?
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Calendar is approved. We'll move to item G3, motion to approve a downtown development agreement with Marty McPies.
Good morning, Chairman, board members. Elizabeth Mason, Executive Director of the Downtown Management District. The item we have before you, if I could have the next slide, is a food truck that is growing into a brick and mortar location at 300 North Shoreline Boulevard. We have Martin Flores with us in the audience, and he is the owner of Marty McPies. He's also a graduate of Ray High School and a veteran, and we're very fortunate to have this small business owner in this community, and additionally growing his business into this bricks and mortar space to create that permanent location. The scope of work here includes interior improvements with new drywall, fresh paint, new countertops, and backsplash. The exterior improvements will include patio railings, fresh paint, lighting, security cameras, and landscaping. It's about a $97,000 project, $97,000 project cost, and our recommended incentive is about $27,000. The completion date slated is September 2024. Next slide. So here's the current condition of the interior. You may recall that it was recently a Blimpies and Kahlua, or I think Kahlua Coffee, or something along those lines, something coffee. That was really, it was only opened, I believe, for lunch, and so it really did not provide that round-the-clock service for downtown, and it closed, I think, over a year ago. And they were looking for a new tenant. The landlord is particular about who he wanted to lease the space to, so we've been working for almost a year with Martin and the landlord to solidify this deal, and we were really happy that we were able to come to an arrangement with them. So this is the current condition of the interior. Next slide. The current condition of the exterior. So there's a really great patio right on shoreline, greatly underutilized, so there will be upgrades there. Next slide. This is the rendering of the interior finish out, so you can see new backsplash, new countertops, new paint, and then the exterior improvements are on the next slide. So there's going to be some upgrades to the patio, as we discussed, lighting, security cameras, new chairs, new tables. And so we really think they're going to make good use of this patio space, and it's really going to be a value add to the downtown and to the offerings that we have. And I did skip over, Marty McPies produces like Neapolitan-style pizzas, so individuals serving pizzas, but it's very popular. They pop up at downtown businesses and businesses across the community, at our art walk and at different festivals, and they sell out almost every event. So there's a very high demand for their product here in the community. Next slide. Here's a floor plan just kind of showing the existing. You can see there's not much changes being made to the area. There's the back kitchen. We're not moving any walls. We're just really doing a layout related to furniture installation, and then, of course, the counter replacement. And then next slide. So we're recommending $27,450. It is about 28% of the overall project cost. But again, this space was vacant for a while. It was difficult to, or not difficult, but it was definitely an undertaking to get the landlord to agree to a new tenant. So we're really excited about having this space filled. And the completion date would be September 30th, 2024. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions, board? Anybody?
I move for approval.
I move for approval. Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval. Any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're done. Congratulations and good luck.
All right.
We'll have another place to get pizza from when we have marathon meetings up here. So. All right, we'll move to item G5, motion to approve a downtown development reimbursement agreement with Corpus Christi Cosmopolitan. Rebecca?
So this
Melissa?
next item, item number 5, if we could have the presentation pulled up. This is a landlord portion of our commercial finish-out program. We made an amendment at the last meeting in order to add walls as a qualified improvement for landlords to make spaces white box ready so that they could then be leased out to tenants. So one of the challenges that we ran into downtown is we had an abundance of vacant buildings, but we did not have white box ready spaces that could be easily leased to a small business. So when the board approved this new program, or approved this addition to the program at our last meeting, it made it more flexible so that we could have more potential spaces to lease to. Are we able to get that presentation pulled up? Oh, no, I'm talking to the, there we go, great. Okay, next slide. So the space that we are looking at is the ground floor of the Cosmopolitan. They will be installing a new HVAC, electrical wiring, and an interior wall to split the space. We anticipate finalizing the details with the new tenant. There will be a coffee component to it, but we understand that it will be very much variety. So it'll include other types of items as well. That'll just be one of the items that they will serve. The overall project cost for the landlord portion is $41,000, and so with the commercial finish out, we are recommending $20,000. Next slide. So this was the interior space of the Cosmopolitan, their retail space. It has sat like this since the Cosmopolitan opened in 2018. The condition that this was in was just always a little bit more, significantly more than what a tenant could afford to finish it out. And so we consistently ran into this issue where we would have potentially somebody who would want to lease the space, but because the landlord and the building owner had not put in the walls, had not put in the HVAC, had not put in the plumbing, those were things that were always beyond what this small business could afford to just kind of set up shop with. So by creating this program, again, we've been able to, we'll be able to move this space forward and get it finished out. Next slide. So this is the image of the improvements that are going to be made. Essentially, they're going to be putting up a wall to split the two spaces, and then they'll additionally be putting in HVAC and electrical in order to make this space leasable. And they do have a lease signed, but we'll be bringing that second piece of the project forward afterwards, and then we would not be reimbursing until the tenant has their certificate of occupancy. So that is the trigger for the landlord to get reimbursed. Happy to answer any questions on this one.
Questions, board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the downtown development reimbursement agreement with the Corpus Christi Cosmopolitan. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you very much. We'll move to item H6. Alyssa?
Okay, so here we have, the board has requested an update on DMD projects and what we're working on to provide services to the TIRZ beyond the projects that we bring forward on a bi-monthly basis. So we've provided this update in your packet. If I could have the next slide. In regards to placemaking, we've been working on a number of projects, including the PD lighting assessment. So this is a project that was approved in our budget for FY24. The idea here is to continue the lighting components that were initiated with Mayor Paulette Guajardo's Illuminando. Remember, we wrapped 100 trees with lights on Chaparral Street, but when you get to this part of Chaparral Street, there are no trees to wrap with lights. Instead, we have a number of buildings with various level of exterior lighting. And so we identified the PD headquarters as a really prime candidate for having lights added outside. Our goal is to kind of add lights to each of the enclaves around it, but we have completed and submitted that work to engineering to begin that design process. So that was the TIRZ project that we have moving forward. Next slide. We've also initiated the process for the Agnes Laredo entryway into downtown. This is the one block portion of Chaparral Street that remains one way that makes it very difficult to connect all of the activity that we have in the Marina Arts District from the activity developing in the South Downtown area. So there's no crosswalks here. It's difficult for people to get from, say, the Surf Club or somewhere on that side to the Annex or Nueces Brewing or any of the 800 residences that are slightly down Upper Broadway. So this is a really important connectivity piece to make that all cohesive. And so we're looking for just kind of a conceptual redesign of this intersection that then will turn into engineering redesign and hopefully a significant improvement in the future. But this is really a problematic thing for the lack of connectivity. So we're excited to be able to approve this. Next slide. And then we have issued a call for walls and a call for artists for our Mural Fest. This is an event that we host really to kick off the summer to bring a lot of positive attention to downtown. And it's really elevated, I think, kind of the brand positioning of downtown because we've been very fortunate to have really well-regarded, kind of nationally known muralists respond to our call for artists and do these large-scale murals downtown. So I think the Farrah Fawcett mural we installed last year, very popular, shared by the Farrah Fawcett Foundation, shared by I Love Texas Facebook account. I think it was liked or shared 27,000 times. So it really helps bring a lot of positive attention. And additionally, it enables us to beautify blighted spaces. So if there's a building that's too far gone or has too much work necessary in order for it to be activated right away, by adding these murals in the interim, we're able to create something positive out of these spaces. And so it really is like a tactical urbanism kind of approach to beautifying downtown. So that's just an update. We've issued those. They close on February 19th, and our slated date for Mural Fest 2024 is June 1st through the 8th. Next slide. In economic development, we have reports on 3 projects. The North Water continues to move forward. They've completed the HVAC, plumbing, electrical, paint, flooring, cabinets, lighting, bathroom fixtures. They have a few appliances outstanding, perimeter fencing, repairs to the pool, and the parking lot. So we're finalizing the details on the parking lot, the proper permitting for the parking lot. Very grateful the city has actually repaved the street in front of this. It was in really poor condition, just covered in alligator cracks, and it made it really it looked bad. So we have that improvement as well that's really going to complement the new parking lot, as well as all the improvements to the building, as well as the project also on the other side of the block. So their date for completion is December 31st, 2024. We extended that at our last meeting. Next slide. Gallery 41 continues to move forward. 90% of the kitchen equipment is installed. The bar build-out is complete. 75% of the furniture is delivered, and they're putting in the concrete for the outside patio. This is another project that's going to have a really great patio. We anticipate completion by June 30th, 2024, so that project continues to move forward. And next slide. Holiday Inn Express is making quick work of their exterior improvements. They demoed and have already started rebuilding. Driving by this morning, they already have new sheetrock up for the lobby, which was basically a space that I don't know if it had never been finished out or had been damaged by a storm, and it was basically just metal framing and holes, right? That's what it had been for a number of years. And so that's being put into the new lobby for the Holiday Inn Express. We've also been in conversations with them about the mural installation on the wall, so that project continues to move forward. And next slide. And then we do have an update in organizational management, which is our website RFP. The website that currently serves the downtown reinvestment zone and the management district was built in 2017 as part of a rebranding project that was funded by the TIRZ board. It has become functionally obsolete, so it's very difficult on the back end to update. The code kind of style is very outdated, and so it's reached the end of its useful life. So we've put out an RFP for really a downtown functional specific page so that we can adopt a platform that's much easier to update with events, to update with businesses. And so we anticipate that coming back in spring, and this was an approved item in our 2024 budget as well. So just to update you on that item, we are making moves on it. And that completes our project updates. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions, board members, comments? I just want to say one thing. Councilman Roy and I met with Alyssa yesterday to go over the agenda for today, and one of the things that we both kind of challenged Alyssa with is, you know, we have a lot of great things going on in downtown Corpus Christi now, and we do publicize that somewhat, but I believe, and Councilman Roy agreed, that we need to do more. We need to let people here in this city and other places know what's happening in downtown Corpus Christi. I mean, I feel comments all the time, well, why should I go downtown? There's nothing there but vacant buildings, and that's just not true anymore. And so we need to do a good job or a better job of outreach and publicity for our downtown area. All these are great projects, and we need to let people know what's happening. So we'll hopefully see some movement on that. So
Yes, sir.
if there's not any further questions on that item, we'll move to item 7.
And so the final item we have here before you is our 2023 impact report. This is essentially our annual report for the downtown management district, but we don't necessarily report on just activity. We bring stats and metrics and benchmarks specifically related to our stated vision and our stated mission elements. And so, again, the TIRZ role in downtown development is to support private sector development and investment, to plan and construct public improvements, and to provide revitalization-focused programs and services. So those were the stated 3 goals in the project plan whenever the downtown TIRZ was created. And we are very fortunate and grateful to staff and this board that you have partnered with us to direct those resources so that we can accomplish those goals. If we can move into essentially page 4, we'll dive into it. Is it possible to zoom out as well so you can see the full page? Single page view? No, that didn't work. Okay. Well, I'm just going to hit on some highlights related to this. So if we can dive into district operations, next page. So in district operations, our stated mission is to institute a clean, safe, and beautiful environment. We continue to collect benchmarks and compare them to previous year's activity. An item that you'll notice a significant increase in is, for instance, trash can cleanings. So these are the times that we wipe down each trash can in the district every day. It's always been part of our protocol, but I think that we've done a markedly better job this year in accomplishing that each day. So there are over 100 trash cans in the district, so it is a significant undertaking, but it is something that each of our clean team ambassadors undertakes each day. Additionally, each time we sweep a block face, that is a statistic, so 54,000 times we've swept block faces. You can see the biohazard removal has reduced, and that is really positive. That has to do, I think, a lot with installing dog waste stations in the district, and then again, just having people be a little bit more responsible and careful about what they do with their pets in downtown. And then graffiti remediations, slightly less than last year, and then our hours continue to hold with that impact. Okay, scroll down. And we had a homeless assessment conducted through Block by Block, which is a national company that provides cleaning services to most downtowns. They do San Antonio, Austin, Houston, and a lot of cities across the country. We had an assessment done by their specialist, Chico Lockhart. He reported that our downtown was the cleanest that he has seen across the country, and so we really, we thought that was a really high compliment for the clean team. And additionally, one of the reasons that we had him come was because we wanted to see if we needed more staffing support in relation to homeless services and homeless providers. So, or our homeless service providing. So did we need more security, or do we need more counselors or people out on the streets? And the report was essentially that with the establishment of the department, where we have people who troubleshoot these individual cases, he didn't see an overwhelming need to add to our capacity at the DMD to mitigate this issue. So we'll continue to play a supporting role in the initiatives that the city is planning, but he didn't see, based upon the way that our situation is downtown and the way that they see downtowns across the country, there was not an overwhelming need for us. Like, this was not our largest problem. So we thought that that was a positive piece of feedback. Next slide.
May I ask you something,
Yes.
Alyssa? Why do you think that was? I mean, across the country, and I've been to other cities where I've seen downtown that it's been taken over by the homeless, but apparently that's not an issue in our downtown. What was the major reason why, again? Because...
I actually do not have an answer for that, Councilwoman.
Well, only because if we could only spread that, throughout the city, that would be helpful.
Yeah. Well, and I think the thing too is there definitely are homeless people downtown.
Yeah.
Like that we saw on the map, right? He plotted every time that he had an interaction with the homeless person.
Uh-huh.
But in comparison to what other downtowns are having almost like a public health crisis in relation to this,
Yeah.
whereas ours continues to remain manageable. Again, it doesn't mean that there are no homeless people downtown, but I think our lack of central connectivity it has to do with it just people not finding their way down here that easily.
Okay. Well, I guess that's one reason. That's one way of, controlling the homeless population is if you can't get down there. But I was just curious because they do concentrate in certain areas. Like I know that you also have like the Agnes, right? The connectivity, like where the expressway is, and I noticed that that's where they congregate. I was just wondering if there was anything that we could do with the downtown to say, well, this is what we are doing, or this is what we could do. I was just curious if there was any input on that. So apparently. No?
There was more information in the more detailed study. Again, this is our overall end of year report, so this is something that we initiated, I think, in the fall of 2022.
Uh-huh.
So I can share that with you, and we can look over to see if there's more actionable items that we can pull. But the main thing that we were trying to assess was whether or not we at the DMD needed a homeless outreach coordinator of our own, and
Yeah.
the feedback we got was that wasn't necessary at this time.
That's good.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
Mayor Hardo, you had a question.
I do. I have a question. So, Alyssa, and I think just to that point, that speaks to our partners probably doing a good job in terms of outreach, to people that are downtown, or homeless people that are downtown. But anyway, that said, can we go back real quick to, what page is this, 4?
Yeah. If there's any way we could zoom out, there's like a little minus at the bottom. Yeah, if you do the little minus sign, there you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Okay,
There you go.
so Alyssa, let's look at this trash can cleanings. So we added more trash cans. Can you go over that? Because that's a huge, that's 10,000 more cleanings, if you will.
Correct. No, we didn't add more trash cans. We just started taking care of the trash cans we had better. So
I see.
it had been it's in the block by block
Wow.
kind of guidelines to wipe each trash can down each day. But it's an activity that we need to monitor. We need to make sure that it's being executed. So that is what it looks like whenever that is being kind of monitored, really thoroughly looked at, and made to be a priority.
So it was an increase in service. So that's cleaning the trash can, not necessarily emptying it,
Correct, yes.
to make sure it's nice and,
Correct.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Between bags of trash emptied and bags of debris collected on the road and put into a dumpster, that statistic is actually 30,000 for the year.
Oh, bags and debris collected.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, all these little things, I'm really glad you're sharing this because they make that big difference when you're walking around downtown or people see downtown and say, it's so clean, it's so nice, everything looks pretty. Well, yeah, because this is why. So
Yes.
thank you for sharing
Yes,
this.
absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, next page. So then additionally, there's 4 areas that we really work on. Light maintenance, we replaced 684 feet of light strands. We reported 257 light outages to AEP. There was $180,000 invested in landscaping strategies. We planted 4,000 flowers. Again, we cleaned the trash cans a significant number of times. And then something else we're able to accomplish, which kind of goes into that mitigating blight. You can see if you scroll down a little bit, we made improvements even to that RTA bus stop, right? It was still functional. It hadn't seen a lot of investment in a long time, but we did beautify that in order to just bring some beautification to the downtown
Nice.
district. So that's
Very
something that our clean team is able to do with the added capacity we have through the TIRZ support. If we didn't have that, we would not have as effective as a blight and mitigation team. And then in-house landscaping. So we actually, additionally this year, we had been contracting out for landscaping with a firm, but we were able to discover we could do that in-house, which is similar to how they do in San Antonio. So they have a larger capacity and they purchase the plants, but then they install them themselves. So that's something that we were able to also implement this year. And you can kind of see we have a little bit of a greenhouse that's in that, the former motorcade, which had been super attractive to homeless people. We had a lot of complaints from San Jacinto Title and Brent Bottom because, I mean, there were instances where they were like starting fires in that drive-through. And so we've actually modified that. That's where the clean team base of operations is now, and we've had a serious reduction in those issues in that part of the downtown area. So
you have
now
been
it's
able-
even a greenhouse.
So you have been able to save money then, just doing your own in-house landscaping, having your own in-house landscaping, I guess, plants and what have you. I would like to see the same thing. At first I had heard that we had like a tree, like a place where we could actually grow trees for the city. So this brings another light bulb to me to hopefully remind, maybe our Parks and Rec, or I don't know who would do this, but to have like an actual in-house landscaping, landscaping,
Well, and
so
it
that
is-
we could save money ourselves and we wouldn't have to, buy out from San Antonio or Brownsville or wherever we get our trees. I know trees is my main thing, but landscaping is a big, issue with our area, with our Corpus, just Ocean Drive. I know that takes a lot of landscaping.
Well, I
Council-
think that it may be
Councilwoman,
difficult to
look,
scale.
That's a discussion for city council. This is,
Yeah, well, I just
let's
thought I'd
move on.
mention it. Thank you.
Okay, moving on into placemaking, next page. So our stated strategy here is creating a welcoming, well-designed, accessible waterfront. Some of the things we completed this year was an ADA accessibility report. So we found 50 locations in need of accessibility improvements, whether it was a ramp or a crosswalk that was missing. It's quite a bit of work that we identified, and so we're working with city staff right now in order to build out phases in relation to that. We have had a discussion and agreed upon utilizing the scooter funds in order to implement some of these improvements, but the scope of work that we've identified is much larger than the scooter funds. And so we're working with engineering and getting those costs narrowed so that we can plan and do that work. But it is really important for connectivity. When you think of downtown, we have people of all ages and all levels of ability, mothers with strollers, people that live in Brookdale. Like, we really need these sidewalks to be accessible and passable by people. And so, especially in this part of the community that we want to tout as being walkable. So this is a really important project for us, and we'll continue to prioritize this. Additionally, we, with the support of this board, Visit Corpus Christi, the Port of Corpus Christi, and the Chamber of Commerce, we were able to activate Norma Urban Park. This was a park that I think the last time there was a plan adopted for it was in 2008 when it was renamed Norma Urban Park. It really had been it had been kind of an afterthought for a number of years, and so we were able to bring attention back to it, really brighten it up. We were able to install that photo op to test it. It was really popular with the community. We had over 100 volunteers come out and help us paint the ground, and it really was, I think, a really great activation, and it was something fun that people got excited about for the summer. So that was a huge initiative. Next page. We also, of course, conducted our Mural Fest. So the 4 murals we had commissioned were Where Music Meets the Bay by artist Eric Carbling. He was out of Honolulu. Sweet Farah by Crystal Cook out of Flint, Michigan. Feathers Upon the Shore by Ivan Roque out of Miami, Florida. And then The Opalescent Octopus by Kipto out of Los Angeles. Each of these muralists came with a significant following, brought a lot of positive attention, and I think left downtown Corpus Christi in a better way than when they found it. 9,000 square feet of downtown were beautified, and they traveled from all over the country. So again, just bringing that national attention to our efforts. We had a variety of sponsors, so we wanted to make sure that we listed them all there. And then we this year added a hospitality week for the artists. The first year we really did not show a lot of hospitality to the artists, and we kind of got that feedback. So this last year we added that, and it is now something that we are well known for. And so last check, how many applications we have? So we released that call for artists the Friday before last. We have 50 applications. People from Portugal, Italy, China, all over the world are submitting for our mural festival because of this word of mouth between this artist network. So we think that's really great. Additionally, we deployed a small business wayfinding program in order to, we know this is working with the city on the larger scale wayfinding, but this makes it possible for pedestrians to see what businesses are down this street or down that street, just makes it more accessible. Of course, our holiday installations really activate spaces and bring the community out to make memories. And then one of the projects that we championed, and of course the city completed, was the installation of a sidewalk at Cooper's Alley. It was previously just a deer path, and so when we launched our run club, our runners would run through here, but it wasn't a designated sidewalk. And so we thought that that was an important connectivity piece, and we had put it on our list, and we're very grateful for the city for also seeing the importance of that and installing that sidewalk. Next slide.
Alyssa, before you go forward, I just want to mention real quickly I was honored, the mayor asked me to fill in for her in December at the Christmas tree lighting, and I hadn't been to that in a while. And I was absolutely amazed at the number of people who turned out for that. It was just amazing. So that's something that was a very positive impact on our community, and something I hope we continue to support in the future.
Thank you, sir. Yes, and I think something really important on that is we definitely manage the details on the back end, but a lot of times the public does not know the difference between the city and the downtown management district, so the city really gets all the credit for the tree, which, everyone's having a good time, so it's fine. But it is really nice. It's a partnership with HEB, and we're trying to grow that each year with improvements. And so thank you for attending, and I'm glad that you got to see that large crowd.
Exactly how many years has that been going on?
So this tree in its current form, this was negotiated between Paulette Kluge and HEB, I think 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
But the Harbor Lights has been undertaking that whole thing for over 41 years.
Yeah,
So,
I thought so.
They had that tree that was like a pole with like garland that tied to it, and they'd put it up every year.
Yeah.
So Paulette wanted to upgrade that, and so that's been happening for over 41 years.
Oh, very good, thanks.
Yeah. And you get to talk to Santa Claus, so how much
Santa
better does
Claus.
it get than that? Huh?
Yes, sir. Okay, and then into economic development, our stated goal here is developing a robust, sustainable, desirable neighborhood. We had $115 million committed for future developments. $930,000 was paid out through different projects that were completed for the TIRZ. We spend a significant amount of time meeting with potential new projects. So to quantify that for you, we had 93 meetings with potential new businesses over the course of the year. There were 18 new businesses opened. Those 93 meetings converted to 30 applications, and then 10 projects are currently in development. Additionally, a policy that was adopted was the rooftop activation program. We also include our street level vibrancy benchmarks, so you can see our vacant storefronts. We also modified a little of the methodology, but we did have 18 new businesses open, so we significantly reduced the vacant storefronts, and as well as entirely vacant buildings. But vacant square footage did go up because the Caller Times building kind of went on the market and was deemed vacant. I think they're operating like a small operation there, but we went ahead and counted that towards vacant because we know that's available for development. And then we have 2 future residential developments that are still underway, the 600 building and then 1001 North Water Street. Next slide, or next page. And then I know it's actually a little hard to believe that we had 18 new businesses open, so we went ahead and listed them all with pictures so that you can know that there was in fact 18 new businesses that we did have open. They include everything from Coffee Waves in 802 North Karankawa to VNP Gallery to an art and photo printing place, UBO, Retro, Private Wealth Group, Produce Bar Company, Central Kitchen, Lazy Beach Tap Room, the Annex, Wildflowers Emporium. Wildflowers also had like subleases to another business called Lavender and Lee that does permanent bracelets and additional kind of custom jewelry. So, and she's like her own business, her own hours, her own Instagram following, so we counted that as an additional business. As well as Old Crest Live, Produce Good, and then the Mariner, which is a speakeasy on top of Harrison's Landing. Additionally, there were 10 projects announced in FY23, and we have those listed here as well.
And that just goes back to what we were talking about as far as advertising. You know, I had a friend call me and invited me to meet him at the Mariner to have a drink, and I said, what's the Mariner and where is that at? So, you know, I just, you know, I challenge anybody to show a place in Corpus Christi where we've had 18 new businesses open up in 1 year. I mean, that's incredible. So we need to, you know, get the word out.
Yeah, and our team works real hard, so I want to give them full credit for all the hustle that they have.
Well,
to
and
make
besides
that.
the 18, we've got 10 more coming online, so it's pretty amazing.
And a new one today too.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, next page. So district operations, placemaking, and economic development are three aspects of the DMD operations that are funded by the reinvestment zone through our interlocal service agreement. There are additional things that we do that are not funded through the reinvestment zone, and so that includes our promotions, our marketing, and our events. And so just to kind of touch base, on social media, we have 37,000 Facebook followers, 28,000 Instagram followers. That was a 6% increase in Facebook and a 14% increase in Instagram. We also had a 24% increase in LinkedIn. So total, our reach across all accounts, and so this is kind of a number that's calculated by the industry. It's not a number that we make up, but it's over 1 million individual accounts we are able to reach through people sharing something that we posted with their audience and then it getting reshared again. So we had over 1 million account reaches over the past year. Our newsletter has 126,000 opens over the past year, which was a 29% increase over the previous fiscal year. We have 6,200 subscribers with a 33% increase. We also have a very high open rate. I think it's like 30%. It's like it's bizarre how many people actually open our newsletter, which we're really grateful for. And then our website had significant number of visits, but as I mentioned to you all, it's difficult for us to update that. We don't have like an office full of coders, and that's basically what the back end of the website is right now. So we're hoping to increase that whenever we have that new platform soon. Related to programming, we did launch the Downtown Run Club in 2021. It's kind of taken on a life of its own, but we're really happy with that because if we've initiated something that an interest group and a micro community then adopt and make it even better than we did without our resources, we think that that's a win. So there's 513 members, about 227 runners who come and run this basically 5K every Wednesday. Starts at Lucy's, goes around to the seawall, and comes back to Lucy's, and then there's a happy hour afterwards. And there's 2,000 people in the Facebook group. Next page. And then our First Friday Art Walk continues to be a signature event. If you have not made it down to an art walk, I highly recommend you make it to February or even March's. In January and February, we have like a winter format, but in March, we'll go back to that 12 block party. But there's only over 241,000 visits in the district due to Art Walk, so these are people who otherwise wouldn't come down. There's 12 block parties and 14 event co-producers. And our Downtown Mural Festival also had a significant number of attendees based upon, we used Placer AI to track this attendance. So 25,000 people came to Mural Walk, and then 4,000 people have visited Norma Urban Park. We also collaborated with Visit Corpus Christi and the Music Commission when the community was designated a music-friendly city. And we launched Music Walk in September of last year, and there was also a really high attendance of that as well. Our Downtown Holiday Series continues to be an initiative where we can really push activation and bring downtown back to that level of vibrancy and kind of merriment that it was when it was the retail core of the entire region. So we have significant attendance statistics from that, anywhere from the holiday tree lighting to the holiday market on Peppermint Lane to the Mayor's Merriest Decorating Contest to the HEB Christmas tree to the boat parade. So those are all initiatives and events that we host to bring the community out and make those new memories. And then we have downtown events and festivals, so related to all the signature events downtown, Buck Days, Dia de los Muertos Jazz Festival, we're also able to track their attendance, and we are able to utilize that too. Because this document becomes really helpful in telling the story of what's happening in downtown Corpus Christi, so we don't want to only talk about what we're doing. We want to also encapsulate what other co-creators are doing downtown and at least have a central place where that information is collected. And then we're almost done. Next slide. So just moving into organizational management, our total revenue and expenditures were about $1.9 million this past year. We have a lot of support in addition to our TIRZ support, which is indicated here in this pie chart. We also have our advisory council, which are corporate memberships, our city general fund match of the DMD levy, and then sponsorships, events, and memberships. So we kind of want to give proper credit and support to everyone there. Next slide. And then in relation to our municipal management district administration and governance, we did renew the downtown management district for another 10 years this past year as well. So that was a significant undertaking. It required a petition of the majority of the property owners in the district. We're continuing to work on potentially an expansion. We completed a documentary that really captured the story of the people that have opened businesses in the past 10 years. We thought that that was really important because there's a lot of that history is lost over time, and so we thought it was really nice to kind of document that and make sure that we had those stories told. And then we did a lot of collaborations, launched the State of Downtown and Downtowner Awards, where we recognized individuals downtown who are doing an excellent job. Additionally, we completed and it's not on here, but we completed a downtown, value of downtown study with the International Downtown Association, and we're designated an emerging downtown. So there's emerging, developing, and established, and so we reached that first level of emerging, and it also gave us some really great statistics for how we should focus our revitalization efforts in order to hit that next level of developing downtown. So that is our annual report for the year, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Good job.
Great report. Any questions? Yes, Councilman Hernandez.
Yes, Alyssa, thank you for the report. Excellent, as always. You had mentioned in your discussion about possible expansion. Have you kind of had some idea of what that expansion would look like?
Yes, sir. So we have developed a 4-phase plan. The first phase is expanding south towards Furman Avenue in order to have the adjacent property owners also pay for the maintenance of our Water Street Reimagined project. So we're trying to get that secured so that the property owners are able to help maintain the improvements that we install when we do that improvement. We're at 47.6% of those signatures. And so we aim to complete that here within the next month or two. And then additionally, we would then look and have conversations with the city about services towards the C District or Uptown. But we're trying to systematically do it in chunks that make sense to expand those services to. So we don't want to overexpand and then be unable to provide those level of service and then get a bad reputation and then not be able to do it any further. So that's kind of the focus right now.
So the C District, obviously, you're probably going to have to wait until the bridge comes down, and that way you have more connectivity between the area. But what about Uptown? What are you looking at the northwestern limit of Uptown?
Ideally, what our goal is to have the DMD boundary match the TIRZ boundary so that the property owners within that area are paying for the services in addition to receiving the benefits of the TIRZ. We think it's a little bit inequitable that the people in the downtown Marina Arts District have paid this additional tax rate for a number of years, but everyone in the TIRZ gets the placemaking incentives and the economic development incentives and some of the cleaning services. So we want to just standardize that. And when we've researched other downtowns as well, the management district or the PID has a larger boundary, so we're trying to just make those a little bit more aligned, which is a best practice that we found.
So looking at the TIRZ would be something that we'd want to adjust as well if we're having kind of a similar aspect of the downtown management district as well as the TIRZ.
Like to grow it?
Right.
Okay.
To match what you're doing. If you're going to be managing the TIRZ for us, it seems like it would be ideal to have it match what your coverage area is.
If you can pull up, do we
It's
have
the last
a map
page.
in here? The last page, there's a map. Okay, if we could have that presentation pulled up and then go to the last page. So currently, the dotted line is the footprint of the reinvestment zone, and the pink area is the downtown management district. So currently, the people in the Marina Arts District pay additionally for services, but the TIRZ services are available for everyone within the dotted line. So the TIRZ is almost 4 times the size of the management district. So we're trying to grow the management district to match the TIRZ. So that way, it's just fair across the board for everybody.
Right.
But looking at where Uptown is, the TIRZ only extends to Karankawa.
Yeah, to Tonkawa. Yes, sir.
Tonkawa, sorry.
Yes.
Tonkawa.
Yeah.
So I guess we'd have to, if you're looking to expand into Uptown, and that's why I asked about the boundaries, is how far you're going to go into Uptown till we can match that with the
Yes, yeah.
TIRZ.
Well, and I think that that's an important conversation for this board to have, because it would be, I think there's already a lot of, there's the potential for it to be, I want to say misinterpreted, but there's the potential for it to be interpreted as like an overreach of the DMD, to think that we would one day reach all the way to City Hall, essentially, right? The expanded area of TIRZ. So that's something that would need to be like a partnership between the city that you also wanted to pursue. I don't think that we would necessarily, because we have these other phases, we're really focused on this first phase of expansion, and hopefully the conversations can continue. And if that's something that's mutually beneficial, we can move forward at that point in time.
Okay, I know we're looking at TIRZ is going to expire in 2028, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, this conversation should start, we should start looking at this now so we can start at least having that plan and decide one way or the other if we're going to go forward with that or not.
Okay,
So-
we'll start conversations with staff about it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and if I may, to add to that, and Peter, we've got the plan on Staples, which ties into which direction do we go, the plan meaning from, excuse me, from 37 to 6 points in, kind of revitalizing that. Of course, like you mentioned, there aren't too many businesses, there are some popping up, but there is a plan for that, to Gil's point, in terms of expanding and what makes sense and logic, right? And what direction to go into, so,
Yes, ma'am.
anyway, thank you, Alyssa.
Okay. Here. Yes, Councilman?
Thank you, Alyssa. I mean, great job as always. Just a couple of things from an anecdotal standpoint. Well, first off, I want to compliment your clean team. I remember during the freeze, going outside my office and I saw all the plants wrapped up with plastic all over them. You could tell that they really hustled, and just something like that you can tell they all take pride and ownership of, and it's reflective of of what we want. Perhaps we need to have maybe Public Works kind of define, because it's true, vendors kind of come visit me, and you come see me at my office, and people joke with me when we're coming up Taylor Street, and they say, know anybody with influence that could probably fix this street? And it's particularly now, there's a lot of travel as a result of the cutoff. So I think that just kind of works hand in hand with, so that way we can be partners in all this. And I know with the streets, it's whack-a-mole on a regular basis. And even though we've finally put some science to us, but like I said, I have a lot of visitors from out of town. In fact, I had some yesterday. I can tell you on a regular basis, vendors come to see me from out of town on a regular basis, and they're always complimenting the murals. So that's a great home run. The other thing, and not that we want to deter, I guess, hotels from North Beach, but there's often times that a vendor will come to see me and they're staying in North Beach and they're like, gosh, I didn't know, because they see it, they look at it, they see the beach, oh man, this is a great place, and then it's not as convenient to them to cross the bridge. So I don't know how, there's some way that, I don't know, that we interact with that, and I know there's limited choices, but once again, and I'm looking at this from this perspective, because there's outsiders that come to town and they don't really have a real grasp of, like somebody asked me yesterday, where can we eat that's walkable? It's such a beautiful day. And I said, well, right now we only have something that's fast food, because of the food court that's over here. And I'm not saying that that's your fault. I'm just thinking from a standpoint of social media, which leads me on to, I remember one time Visit Corpus Christi had this little, these workshops, and one in particular was on the social media presence of small businesses and ways that they could, get other attractions from, or get more hits from other people from outside the community so they could hit that. So I don't know that you offer that or get Visit Corpus Christi to do it again, because I think businesses like, Marty McPie's, would see something like that where somebody from out of town looks at it, my sons travel on a regular basis, so they do that research about what's available other than on Yelp. Another thing, last week I spoke to a bunch of high school seniors at Harold Branch Academy, and you got that one in the crowd, there's nothing to do here. And I said, man, what do you mean? Have you ever been to Art Walk? Well, yeah. I said, have you ever been to Dia de los Muertos? Well, yeah. Have you ever been to, have you been to Retro? And about half of them raise their hands. So I think that's the whole thing. We're getting out of that component where people are, where the identity crisis that Corpus Christi has. And so I just want to compliment you. But, just the homework is that if there's a way that we could educate our businesses or ensure on a regular basis, what are they doing to capitalize on their digital media presence? Because you have all these icons of the murals, of the CC Texas, of the Bayfront, or when we're having the beach volleyball, just my perspective.
Yes, sir. And I do appreciate the compliments. I do, again, want to give credit to the team and then also to the support of this board and to city staff, because it really is a collaborative effort and there's so many moving parts to make it possible. But I am grateful to be able to give this update to you all, but I definitely want to make sure I share that credit with everyone else that works hard on it.
Yeah, good comments, Councilman. Councilman Hunter.
Thank you, Chairman. Alyssa, who is the gentleman, your predecessor? Terry, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So Terry came in, we didn't even have any sort of downtown efforts, or we did, but they were minimal. And Terry came in and he did a pretty good job, a really good job, depends on your perspective, because before he was there, we had nothing, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you came in, you had big shoes to fill. And now you've made those shoes bigger. So you've done a great job, and so has your team. Y'all have done a very good job. What I'm trying to say is we're very good at breaking wheels that are already working. We don't need to do that. Y'all just keep doing what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
And I wanted to, the only reason I'm saying this, because I feel like you need to hear from all of us, because we all have different perspectives.
Thank you.
Do we promote our, good comments, thank you, Councilman. Do we promote our businesses in downtown using TripAdvisor?
We have, no, historically, everything that I showed you on those 3 promotion pages is done by, now we have 3 people, or those 2 promotion pages is done by 3 people. Art Walk is a 20,000 person event that we put on every month, and so our capacity is kind of limited in relation to the marketing. I mean, we'll post on social media, but that is pretty much the extent of what we have the capacity for right now. But with your kind of guidance, we'll look at some other ways that we can do it. And I do think TripAdvisor is a good place for us to make sure that information is accurate,
And
so
when
we could work with Visit as well.
I depend on it really, when my wife and I travel, first thing I do is go to TripAdvisor and look up, hotels, restaurants, all the things that, and you get some, it's pretty good.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Yeah.
And I know in the places that we travel, especially internationally, they pay attention to what's being said on TripAdvisor.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Yes, Councilman Roy.
No, great presentation. I know we talked yesterday about a lot of the different things, but I really feel strongly that we have to continue collectively, I think, in terms of brand marketing our area, making it, I know years ago when I was on council the first time, we talked about those kiosks that would be located in and around the city, and we had a presentation on that.
The Ike kiosks? the
Yes,
ones
I
that were-
think, yeah. And I've seen those in other cities because somebody could come up and press a button and it tells them different things about the area and where they can walk to and so forth. But I think we need to continue to do that, especially because when the bridge does come down, and, when we have the ability to think about this, even with the Hillcrest area where you can kick off and walk across the bridge and do a lot of different things that were never we weren't able to do before. It's going to change our landscape. And I think we need to get ahead of that. I don't think we need to wait until that happens, but we need to get ahead of it and remind people of the good things that are coming, like some of the hotels that are getting refreshed right now or completed. And I think it needs to be a joint effort. Is there ever a time when you have the chamber, Visit Corpus Christi, and yourself, maybe the three collaborating from a marketing standpoint as far as just meeting and talking about what each of you are doing collectively?
I would say no, but that's a great idea. I think the first time we really collaborated was with that Norma Urban Park project. So I think there's definitely a precedent there, as well as the World War II Heritage Trail
Yeah.
designation. So there's definitely, we have relationships and we can definitely build on that. That's a great suggestion. So.
Yeah, I think and so looking at short-term and long-term planning as far as marketing and branding, and even I think there should be a city representative there too, because I think it needs to be something that consistently we're working on, and what we can do to get in front of the media, whatever platform that is. I think it's crucially important right now because we have this momentum.
Yes, sir.
And keep up the good work. I mean, we've come a long ways. It's amazing. I hear it from people all the time that come in from out of town and visit, that have visited before. My son, who lives in LA now, but came home 2 weeks ago, and I think he single-handedly tried to visit every establishment in downtown. But he was, he was amazed. He was like, "Oh man, I went there. That was pretty cool. I went over here." So it's good to see where young people have that quality of life and are starting to enjoy the things that we're doing.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, great comments. Anybody else?
Job.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'd just like to say, first off, I really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you, Alyssa, and your team does a great job. I live downtown, as most of you know, and one of the things that I'm concerned about, and we have a lot of momentum, we do a lot of things right, but on one particular occasion, it was the day after Christmas, we were driving down to El Camino, that's the Mexican restaurant down next to Water Street, and we were trying to go down one of those access roads, we went across Taylor, where Taylor is, Antelope, Leopard, went all the way to Lipan, and all of the right lanes were blocked off with some sort of barricade or something, trying to access downtown. It's not the way it is right now, and it's accessible, but we're going to have construction of Upper Broadway here in a short time, and it's really a challenge sometimes if we don't do things right to actually access downtown. We're doing all the groundwork, we're making all the right investments, but in this period right now where we're transitioning from the old bridge to the new bridge, and you got one flow downtown besides the South Shoreline and the Agnes Street corridor. The only access to downtown is through the uptown area, right? And a big portion of it comes off the crosstown freeway right there at Antelope. And if we don't keep those streets clear to access downtown because we got some barricade, some barrier, what we had to do to get down to El Camino, we went down Lipan, we had to go into the left lane and go against one way to be able to get down to Mesquite and then go back around to, but that's dangerous. And again, we've done a lot of things to try to eliminate some of the accidents with people that were accessing the Harbor Bridge through some of the exit ramps, but we need to also make sure that we figure out a way to keep those access roads downtown open. All right, thank you.
Good points. Thank you.
To that point, board member, I do want to add, we did add a partial position, PR and communications coordinator in this budget year to do kind of what Councilman Roy and Councilman Pusley had talked about, but we have spent a lot of time actually just talking about closure notifications. Like, that's become a very large portion of that function to try to get ahead of that. So I don't know specifically from the uptown to downtown connection. We've really been working on trying to mitigate construction impacts and kind of construction laydown yards, but we'll also work with the city right-of-way department and try to make sure we're at least putting those notifications out. And then I think we always try to double check whether that closure is necessary. That's something that we try to ask whenever we have an opportunity to. So hopefully we can work with staff to make that better.
Good, that's a good point. Okay, anything else? All right. No further business come before this board, we are adjourned.